October 1st, 1998, Seoul. No one suspects that the world is about to watch the last female Olympic relay of the Cold War. 3 teams are fighting for the title. East Germany, a small country with a population of only 16 million, is one of the heavyweights of world sports due to its youth talent recruiting network and its advanced doping system. If Mariya Koch, best 400-meter runner in history, retired 2 years earlier, the East Germans, world record holders at the time, remain very strong thanks to a very homogeneous team of young athletes. The United States, led by 3-time Olympic champion Florence Griffith-Joyner, who won the 100, 200 and 100 meters relay earlier this week. She's also holder of the world record in all 3 races. Her teammates are Valerie Brisco-Hooks, Diane Dixon and Denean Howard, who finished 4th, 5th and 6th in the 400 meters race. Tatyana Ledovskaya, silver medalist in the 400 meters hurdles, will start the race for the Soviets. She will be followed by Olga Nazarova, bronze medalist in the 400 meters, and Mariya Pinigina. Olga Bryzgina, Olympic champion in the 400 meters, will have the difficult task of finishing the race. The Olympic Games that are about to end follow a series of editions marked by catastrophes and boycotts that tarnished the image of the competition. The 1972 Games remain infamous in history due to the assassination of 11 Israeli athletes by Palestinian terrorists. This tragedy occurred as the authorities of West Germany, wanting to make the public forget the 1936 Berlin Games, had reduced the police and military presence to a minimum during the competition. The 1976 Games were the first one to see massive boycotts tarnish the sport's biggest celebration. 39 countries, mainly African nations, refused to go to Montreal because New Zealand was allowed to take part in the Games. The New Zealand rugby union team had met South Africa, who was banned from all international sports at the time due to its apartheid policy. 1980, the Moscow Olympiad, first one in the Eastern Bloc, will not see the return of the global games. US President Jimmy Carter, weakened before the elections by the Iran hostage crisis, is standing firm against the Soviet Union, which has just invaded Afghanistan.
And I have notified the Olympic Committee that with Soviet invading forces in Afghanistan, neither the American people nor I will support sending an Olympic team to Moscow.
The IOC refuses to take the Games away from Moscow. The US Olympic team decides not to cross the Iron Curtain. They will be followed by 65 countries. The Soviet Union wins 80 gold medals, East Germany 47. The 2 countries win more than half of the medals. In 1984, in Los Angeles, on the pretext of security issues, the Soviets returned the favor to the Americans. This time, 16 Eastern Bloc countries, including the Soviet Union and East Germany, boycott the Games. Team USA wins more than a third of the titles and grabs 174 medals in total. 1988 is a critical year for the IOC, who cannot afford massive boycotts for the 4th time in a row. Avoiding boycotts will not be an easy task, as it is Korea, separated since the end of the Second World War between the capitalist South and the communist North, which has been appointed to organize the Games. A diplomatic battle begins between Seoul, designated host city, and Pyongyang, who demands that half of the events be organized in the north. The IOC offers to organize a quarter of the events in North Korea, which the country refuses, and ends up boycotting the Games. Cuba, Ethiopia, Albania, and Seychelles join North Korea. Fortunately for the organizers, the Soviet Union, who just started deep changes via its perestroika policy, decides not to join the boycott. East Germany, for whom sport is an essential part of foreign politics, also announces its intention to send athletes to Seoul. These Games will be the first since 1976 where the Americans, the Soviets, and the East Germans will face each other. The diplomatic crisis aside, this Olympiad will be of paramount importance for South Korea. The country, destroyed by war 30 years earlier, is experiencing an economic boom in what is known as the South Korean miracle. At the same economic level as the North until the 1960s, South Korea flourished and became one of the most prosperous nations in East Asia. The 24th Summer Olympics begin on September 17, 1988. Their motto, harmony and progress. Table tennis is making its appearance for the first time, and tennis returns after 64 years of absence. If many of the performances of the 23 sports are remarkable, athletics are the definite star of these Games, but not always in a positive way. The men's 100-meter final is often referred to as the dirtiest race in history. Winner Ben Johnson, who broke the world record in 9 seconds 79, is tested positive for anabolic steroids 3 days later.
Ben Johnson has been stripped of his gold medal for testing positive to using anabolic steroids. The IOC made the announcement earlier this evening.
Carl Lewis is crowned Olympic champion. Lewis, champion of clean athletics in public, was also tested positive 3 times in 1988 in preparation for the Games. His initial 12-week suspension was overruled by the US anti-doping agency. Ultimately, no American, Soviet, or East German athlete will test positive during this Olympiad. Only athletes from quote-unquote minor nations, like the Canadian Johnson, will be sacrificed on the altar of clean sport. Back to October 1st, start of the women's 400 meters relay. The 3 leading nations have decided to line up their best runners at the end of the relay. The slowest competitors on paper will start hostilities. Very good start from the American Denean Howard and the Soviet Tatyana Ledovskaya. Approaching the first handover, the Soviets are first ahead of the Americans and the East Germans.
Very good leg by Denean Howard, 49.8. That is great.
The athletes leave their lane in the opposite straight of the second relay as Nazarova, bronze medalist in the 400 meters, chases Diane Dixon, who had finished 5th in the race.
She's a little better than Diane, but she may be going too fast. Diane shouldn't panic.
Below average handover from the Americans, who do not have the opportunity to train together as often as the Soviets and the East Germans with their centralized training systems. Third relay, Valerie Brisco-Hooks, triple gold medalist in Los Angeles 4 years earlier, is second between Mariya Pinigina and Sabine Busch. The American achieves an exceptional final straight to pass the baton just behind the Soviets. The East Germans are too far to fight for victory.
This is the one. This is what we've been waiting for.
2 exceptional athletes will be fighting on the last lap. Olga Bryzgina, 25 years old, has won the 400 meters 5 days earlier. Bryzgina has been the queen of the 400 meters since the retirement of East German Mariya Koch. Florence Griffith-Joyner, known as FloJo, is the star of the Seoul Games. A triple gold medalist, she is determined to become the first female athlete in 40 years to win 4 gold medals in one Olympiad. In addition to her performances on the track, she also became a fan's favorite due to her strong personality, her oversized fingernails, and her extravagant outfits that she designs herself. The outfit she wore during her world record in July 1988 was so iconic that it was used by Mattel to create the FloJo Barbie doll. Back to the race. FloJo has the strategic advantage by closely following Bryzgina, who sets a high pace to exhaust the American sprinter. The gap stays the same as the 2 women are about to enter the last 100 meters.
The 400 strength holds up.
3 minutes, 15 seconds and 1700th. The previous world record is shattered by nearly 7/10 by the Soviets. The Americans finished second, 3400th behind. They just ran the second best performance in history. The East Germans take the bronze, 3 seconds behind, and achieved what was at the time the 5th fastest time. Great leader, FloJo comforts her teammates on arrival. Unlike her, they will not taste Seoul's Olympic gold. FloJo, who is not supposed to take part in this relay before the Games, later stated how important this particular race was to her.
That silver medal that I won in the relay, that's my most precious medal because the United States had given me the chance and the opportunity to try to make history by winning 4 gold medals, and I tried as hard as I can, and that's very precious to me.
This race would remain the women's fastest 400 meters relay in history. Griffith-Joyner is, with 3 gold and 1 silver medal, the most successful athlete of these Games. Olga Bryzgina is third, with 2 titles, behind Carl Lewis. 404 days later, the Politburo spokesman of the Unified Socialist Party of East Germany, Günter Schabowski, discusses the ability for East German citizens to travel to the West. While the measure is only meant to be symbolic and was only announced to appease protesters, a reporter asks when citizens would be able to travel to the West. His answer will change history.
Das tritt nach meiner Kenntnis ist das sofort. Unverzüglich.
The announcement hits like a bombshell. Berliners storm to the wall. The soldiers do not stop them. The Berlin Wall, which had separated Germany as well as Europe since 1961, falls under the joint efforts of both sides. Germany will be reunified on October 3, 1990. On December 26, 1991, the Soviet anthem is played for the last time in the Kremlin. Mikhail Gorbachev abdicated the day before on Christmas Day and announced the dissolution of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. The red flag is lowered and replaced by the Russian flag. Nazarova and Bryzgina will run for the last time together and win Olympic gold at the 1992 Games under the banner of the unified team of the former USSR. After that, Russian relays will never be able to fight for Olympic gold again without Ukrainian and Belarusian athletes. On September 21, 1998, barely 10 years after the race, tragic news broke on American television.
Olympic track champion Florence Griffith-Joyner has died today. The 1988 Olympic trial gold medalist died today of an apparent heart seizure. She was only 38 years old.
The death of Florence Griffith-Joyner at only 38 years old and the suspicions of doping against all three medal-winning teams do not tarnish the exceptional nature of this race. A lot of records from this era are described as suspicious because they have not been beaten to this day. Isn't it, on the contrary, a positive sign to see that no one has been able to reach such heights since then? By contrast, Johnson's 9 seconds 79 would only have secured him a bronze medal at the 2009 World Championships. The exceptional performances of amazing athletes subsist beyond the Cold War and the dangerous pitfalls of overzealous national pride. Always further, always higher, always stronger. The Olympic motto is both an epic challenge and a terrible curse. Sport is, therefore, a fascinating mirror of the human condition. If you liked this video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check our other sport documentaries. Please tell us in the comments which athlete you would like to see featured next. See you next time.